Hello, my name's Laurel Papworth and I'm an AI lecturer in algorithms, datasets and artificial intelligence, and I also teach social media. Where to start? Okay, so structured prompting for social media. You may end up with what's called a series of prompts. That's around 15 prompts. Always make sure your custom instructions say that you're, in the first box, that you're a subject matter expert in social media and that you have a number of clients across, and then list the industries. This will give the AI an idea that it needs to be versatile in its answers, specifically to particular industries. Now, if you're a social media manager in, for instance, hairdressing, then you would just say hairdressing. But if you've got a hairdressing client, accountant, a small business selling car parts, then list those businesses in the first box. In the custom instructions, the second box, say that you need a variety of styles and tones. And also, I like to say that I want Australian grammar and spelling. Doesn't always work, but I ask. When you get into the prompts, rather than just saying, I need a social media marketing plan, you give, the first prompt is a construct of 4. So I always give context, query, style, output, and then a question. So the first one is, I need to write a social media strategy for, and strategy, by the way, there is output, for a hairdressing salon. So there's context. Can you help me write this strategy? There's your query. The strategy should be easy to read, dense, step by step. Something along those lines. I'll go through what those keywords mean in another video. Once you have those 4, and then you ask the question, what else do you need to know? I always start by throwing it back onto ChatGPT. If I march in and say, list me 10 things or do this, I might miss something. So if I ask, what do you need to know? ChatGPT will tell me. Usually it's along the ideas of audiences, products and services, any analytics you have, things like that. It'll ask you for them. So those 4 things, context plus query, move you to style and output. Output are things like I need it in a table, I need dot points, and then style is in a friendly voice, in a professional voice, in a lively, entertaining voice, something like that. Once those 4 have been done, I move into few shot prompting. Few shot prompting is giving the AI an example. Here's an example of a script that we did last week on how to put a pool into the garden. Please write a script in the same style on how to build a retaining wall. And that way, if you're doing YouTube educational videos or something like that on a particular topic, the AI will read the original script, or scripts if you have a few, and then be able to extrapolate out what another script would look like. In my case, the AI sometimes comes back and says things like, would you like me to include your jokes? I'm like, yes. And they're actually funny. I don't always use them, but I do find them funny. So few shot or end shot prompting means to give an example. Chain of thoughts for social media would be along the lines of, I have a prompt, I have an output, give me the steps in between. And I always want the steps because I want to understand why it's come to that decision. So if I say, I'm looking after this company, here's their sort of information on their numbers, on their target audiences, on the advertising spend that we have, all that sort of thing. Should I focus more on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, Threads, or Facebook, or something else? I don't just want an answer that says Facebook. So that prompt, which one should I focus on? Please give them to me in a list, prioritized, is the output, and then explain to me step by step your decisions. And that way I get a full answer of, your audience is not really on LinkedIn, or you have very visual products, so therefore Instagram would be good for you. I need to know what and why the AI is thinking the way it is. With chain of thoughts, we can then move into tree of thoughts, And Tree of Thoughts is simply asking the AI to role play as multiple members of a panel or a team. So I might say, I want you to role play 3 social media experts and argue which is the best platform for us to be on. You'll get a deeper answer than choose a platform or give me a list. If I don't want 3 of the same type, I can also use Tree of Thoughts or Please Role Play as 3 different people. I want you to role play the CEO, CFO, and the Chief Marketing Officer. Or I want you to role play the client, the sponsor, and the event social media manager. Something along those lines. And then say, tell me what a meeting on Monday between them would look like if we were talking about XYZ topic. So we have few shot prompting, we have chain of thoughts, step by step. We have tree of thoughts, role play different people. Another one is called chain of density. And this is really good for densifying information, particularly if you're a social media manager that has a lot of text, for instance, for academia. Maybe you work at a university or college or higher education. Maybe you're working with faith-based churches and organizations. And there's a lot of text or a lot of information to pass on. Like, fashion, you can show a jacket, put the price up and click here to buy. You might need for some audiences and some products to work in a different way. So chain of density is I want you to read this proposal from the government or this news release or something, and then give me a summary in 90 words. And then I want you to give me 5 more summaries, densifying each summary, adding in another core concept called an entity. It's kind of how GPT transformers work. And make each of the summaries denser, but keep them readable, because they can get pretty unreadable pretty quickly. I usually don't go with the 5th one, but if I need a nice succinct paragraph for a Facebook post, I might go with the 3rd or 4th one. I think one of the challenges with AI is to ensure that it's not the pilot, but the co-pilot, meaning it's your mentor. So the best thing to always do for me is to ask more questions, to have it ask me questions. And sometimes I'll put in something like a negative review that's on social media and say, you're the customer, you've left this review. I'm going to give you a response. I want you to critique my response. And every time I've done that, the AI has come back with, it's a good response, but I would also include this, this, and this. That helps me get better on the fly with responding in crisis comm situations. I could, of course, put the review up and ask the AI to write the response, but sometimes that mentoring part is worth more than simply not knowing whether it's a good answer or a bad answer. By having it mentor you through all the answers, you get better at your job as well. Finally, with my structured prompting, particularly because I'm concerned about catastrophic failures, because we're getting them a lot at the moment, I think with the new version with 125,000 tokens versus 3,000 or 10,000 tokens, we should be okay. We should be better. But catastrophic failure is where it loses the thread of the conversation. It runs out of RAM. It runs out of memory. It doesn't really run out of memory, but it runs out of tokens. So I ask it to summarize our conversation so far. And it gives me a really nice, succinct summary, which if I do have catastrophic failure, I can take to a new thread and start again. And you'll notice, for instance, if you're doing large volume work, like I need you to write me 10 400-word articles, and then we're going to edit them and we're going to fix them, and you do a whole lot of work with them, then you may want to shift into asking for summaries each time. A more advanced option, 2 more advanced options. One is to set the temperature. So I type in on the first prompt at the beginning of the thread, nowhere else, just the very first one. AI has a temperature parameter setting. Please set the temperature to 0.9, which is hot, and that will give you a more creative answer. AI has a temperature parameter setting. Please set the temperature to 0.2. I find that one best for math and semantic AI, search, retrieve, and cite. Another one is to put delimiters in. So I'll say bracket, comment 1 in bracket, type the comment in, and then bracket / comment 1 bracket. And do that for 50 comments. And now I can, further down the thread, reference back. I want you to go back to comment number 4 and give me another response based on this information so that you can continue to progress through your prompts without having to type the whole, copy and paste the whole review or the whole comment or the whole tweet or whatever it is in each time. Very last, once I've done these, and I might be working through about 14, 15 different prompts in one thread to get to what I want. I never get it to perfect. I always just take what I have and massage it a little bit and then keep going. So the very last thing is I say, please review our chat discussion so far and give me tips on better prompting and let me know if there's anything that I missed that I should have asked you. And I find every time I do that, I learn something new. At the beginning, you get a lot of tips because you're probably only doing 2 or 3 prompts in one thread. As time goes on, the prompts are better. So that's how ChatGPT will work with you, mentor you with your social media, give you advice on social media, help you create content on social media, analyze reviews on social media. You could even upload data analytics and have it review your social media engagement and virality and things like that. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you in the next video. My name's Laurel Papworth, and thank you.